Hello Chesters, today I'm going to show you an opening which is called the two knights defense for black. It starts off with the Italian opening, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and knight f6. Here white can play many things like castle, d3, or knight c3. But we're going to focus on the fried liver attack which starts off with the move knight g5. Here, black can also play the Chessters counterattack, but the usual response is d5. After white takes, in the fried liver attack, black usually takes with the knight, white sacrifices, and after king takes, the queen will move to attack the king and the knight, and this will be a very dangerous attack for white. So instead of taking with the knight, black plays the move knight a5, attacking the bishop. And here, white can play a lot of different moves. In this position, the most common move for white is the move bishop to b5 check. But first, we're going to take a look at the lines that is more uncommon than this, such as moving the bishop back here, 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 or moving the knight back. There is also the move queen to e2, but usually you just take the knight and you trade queens with very open positions for your bishop. And this knight should go back. For the other moves like bishop going back, you just kick out the knight, and after moving this, you can attack it again or just take for a more solid position, and you will have a great game. And other bishop moves like bishop here, you can just take this with the knight, and after they take back, you just kick out the knight again, and then attack it again, and then claim a more dominant position and active with the bishop lines. So that's it. A less common line but a little bit better is the move d3. And here you just need to kick out the knight again, and after it moves, you just attack it again, and they can't take because the bishop will hang, so they have to pin the pawn or move the knight. And either of those moves, you can probably just take the bishop like this, and you will have a dominant position with lots of bishop lines. So, the main response for white in this position is usually the move bishop to b5 check. And here you can play c6 or bishop d7. And in this video, I will show you the c6 line because it is a little bit better for black with lots of potential for both players to win. So, after pawn takes again, white has many moves in this position. One of the few moves that we'll be discussing in this video is the move queen f3, bishop back to a4, bishop back to d3, and bishop back to e2. One of the more dangerous moves for white is the move bishop back to a4. And here you can kick out the knight with h6, and after it goes back, you can attack it again with e4. And the other moves of the knight like h4 or going back are both bad because it makes the knight useless at the moment. And the other moves were knight to e5 or pinning the pawn. For the move knight to e5, you can actually fort the bishop and the knight, and after bishop takes, knight takes again, after the move c5, the knight is trapped. But they can move the knight in a certain way, which can win a pawn or at least disallow you to castle with the move like knight takes here or knight to d8. And for this opening, you will have 3 pawns for the knight and very open bishops, which is usually better, but you still have to play the game. The only other move for white is queen to e2. And here, black should remember to play the move bishop to e6. This makes the pawn threaten the knight again. And white should probably underdevelop the knight back to g1 to stay in the game. But a lot more logical move is to put the knight here. And you can fork again the bishop and the knight. And after this, white can probably play the move queen to b5. Or they can go back here again and probably take here. But they will see that they can play the move queen to b5. And here, it is important to remember to play the move bishop to c5. Because this threatens an attack on the king and also disconnects the queen to the knight. So, but in this position, white can see that the knight on c6 is hanging. So, a lot of them will try to take the knight. And in this position, black can move the king even up to connect the rooks. And after checking more, black can even end up in this position where they're pretty much up everything and their king is in the middle. Now we're going on to the move queen to f3. And here, black can play bishop to e7, rook to b8, or even the move h6. For bishop to e7, after white takes on c6, black takes and queen takes, after blocking with the bishop and the queen moving, and black will castle, and here black will have a lot of development in exchange for the pawns and also the bishop pair. So in the other line, which is rook to b8, the same thing will happen mostly. And here black will block with the knight and attack the knight, and here again black will have a lot of development. They can develop the rook here, attacking the queen, and they can develop here or here or here, and they will have a great position in exchange for the pawns. So the other move that is a little bit more aggressive is the move h6. So here, it tempts white to take again, but this is bad for white now because after bishop blocking, the queen is attacked and the knight is attacked. So they will have to move the knight. And after this move, black will move the knight into the middle and white will have to move the bishop again. And again, in this position, black will have a lot of lines and will probably have a good game as well after moving the bishop because of the pawn on the center and the activity of the pieces. One of the more solid moves for white is the move bishop back to d3. And here, black will play the move knight to d5 and forcing the knight to move back. So after this move, white will play bishop to d6, and after the two castle, it will be a good middle game with lots of potential because of the two bishops and the more or less active knights. And the possibilities of playing the move f5, potentially attacking white on the king side, and white having a lot of undeveloped pieces. The last move we're going to talk about is the move bishop back to e2. And here you can just attack the knight again, and they have two choices, moving to h3 or moving to f3. By moving to h3, you will have lots of open lines for your bishops, like moving here or here, or you can even sacrifice the bishop just in case to damage the structure. And if they move to f3, which is a lot worse than h3, you can attack it again, and after moving here or undeveloping it, you can, even though you don't have the move to attack it, unlike the other lines, which is the move queen to d4, you still have lots of open lines if you move it here, if you move your bishop. And the knight is, even though the knight is in the center for them, they're still undeveloped on a lot of pieces. To summarize the point of the opening for the two knights defense, it usually involves avoiding the fried liver attack, getting lots of bishop lines in exchange of pawns, attacking their active pieces in order to gain tempo and have an advantage. And probably they can also slip up and hang forks or have a very bad position. And that is all for the two knights defense.